Well, welcome to our 7K Ohana advanced training session. This I think it's our 9/11 day, a day of remembrance. And so we're going to remember a lot of things about today, not just the tragic portions. And I'm going to save any of my political speak after my recording. But I do want to share a few things with our group. And what I do want to share is a little bit of remembrance of 7K in a way, in our 7K Ohana team. And I think it'll fit all together with the message that I want to bring today to the leaders here. And you are the leaders. You're here, you're getting fed, and you're learning the skills, attitudes, and techniques, and you're doing what I call the job description that it takes. Because all can be successful with 7K. Everyone can be. It's only what's up here that limits a person to the degree of success that they do have. And that's why I teach attitude as part of my real program of success, those 7 pieces of paper. And I know many times you say, well, why do Bob keeps talking about those 7 pieces of paper? Because if you don't teach it, you won't have a long-term residual business. That's why. There's more than just those 7 pieces of paper involved in that system. And that's why you have to teach it. I won't be around to teach it the years to come. Somebody has to teach it. And it's leaders that teach it. I've developed a lot of leaders in the past, and the ones that keep teaching it are the ones that keep winning. The ones that stop teaching it are the ones that see deterioration in their business. And there's a reason for that. And so, first of all, just a review, and you should be doing this with every person you personally sponsor. You should be doing it with every person you personally sponsor. And you get agreement on this one little paragraph, but there's a lot in here. And you got to get agreement. Then you get a commitment of minimum of 10 hours. Now, I do make allowances. That's why I say 5 to 10 for people who are running their own businesses or in high caliber jobs, and they're working 60, 70 hours a week already. And example of Danny Clements, president of one of the largest development companies in New Mexico. Well, he fits it in the cracks of the day, but he finds that 5 hours minimum every week, and he shoots for 10. And it's paying off big time, and it will pay off big time for him in the future. And so will it with everyone, regardless of what we do or where we fit in the income scale. And these are the basics. And the one that most people don't do is this one consistently for 2 years. And I tell you that you do have to watch a video. And hopefully, if you've watched all the company videos and your associate training and in your onboarding and the new videos that come up, and every one on your 7K Wealth System app, because you need to see everything before you ever, you don't want to send things to people you haven't seen. That's just a rule. And you're going to watch videos over and over and over again. But I've given you a repertoire of a lot of videos than in your 2-year period watching one video every day for 5 days a week. I'd give you 2 days off. But that's an absolute mandatory requirement. And if you're not willing to do that, you look in the mirror, the reason you're not making a 6-figure income after 2 years, it's you, because you refuse to do the simple. Or you say, oh, I've already seen it, it gets boring. Well, making a 6-figure residual income is boring to you. I can't help you. But these are the basics, getting the commitment of people will do this for 2 years without complaining, without saying this doesn't work. And then building the business, a left leg and a right leg, and building a team. And I'm going to show the degree of significance of this in a second, but I want you to understand that one side is going to be bigger than the other side for everyone. That's called a bank side. Now the other side becomes your pay side. That's the side you're mostly going to work. And so long term, is going to come through in a minute here. Long term, and this is what I've done. See, I haven't prospected personally any big hitters, me personally, in 5 years, but yet I'm the top money earner in the company. I make more $7,000 checks every week than anybody does, consistently every week. Now, I don't say that to be bragging. I say that to let you know that everyone can do this. And I'm going to show you how today. Because even if you weren't making the $7,000 a week, who wouldn't be happy with $1,000 a week for the rest of their life while they're acquiring wealth in the next 3-5 years? And the way you do that is you may not, let's just say the left side is your pay leg. That's just the leg you're trying to build. Whereas your right side is your bank side. That you reach down, you're just trying to find anybody in this group that you can work with and help them, motivate them, work with them in a partnership, that if they start making a $500 check every month, they will eventually start making every other week, then eventually every week, because as that team grows, that's what happens. So if you had one person, even if you didn't personally sponsor them, that's making a $500 check every week, anywhere in your group, that's 1,000 points coming up every week to this side. So you need to be a copper. And if you don't already have a business family pack, you will need one. And that's what I say, everybody ends up with a business family pack in the long run, because you've got to personally sponsor 2 people on your left, 2 people on your right. And you got to have an associate on the left and an associate on the right. Well, if you have $1,000 coming up on your pay side every week, believe me, you can make copper and come out ahead real easy. And all you have to do is, when you get to that point, if you don't already know how to do it and you haven't been taught, is you contact me and I'll help you through that process. I believe in the principle of building business. You don't spend more money than you can make, but I can show you how to do that very easily. Okay? So that's why it's important to have the business family pack, because that already makes you an associate. And if you don't already have one, start getting it. And you get it when it makes you a paycheck, meaning when you need one on this side and that 50 points will make you a paycheck. Well, it didn't cost you to get your other membership position, because everybody's allowed to. And you can earn income on 2 centers. Okay. So that's what the business family pack is, with a spouse and a company. And so you can actually have 4 in that spousal relationship, your own and your own company, just like at Costco. We're going to come back to this in a minute. I want to see a little bit, just a little review. And then, of course, the numbers of exponential expansion. And this is exactly how this works. And it's how it's worked for me part-time, doing this business part-time in retirement until I started making a 6-figure income back in May 2019. When that occurred, and I saw where this company is going, I would put much more time into it. But I was looking for leaders, looking for people who wanted to make a difference in other people's lives, because that's what we do. We make a difference in other people's lives. We give them opportunity they can have nowhere else. We give them hope. We give them financial success that they've never had before. Or we provide extra income that's dearly needed in their family. And so when you think about that, and the products that we have are silver and gold, so they get to accumulate wealth that they've never done before, at the same time of providing additional revenue into their or income into their family. There is no better opportunity when we look at it that way. And you need to learn how to express it that way to your partners. You need to remind people who get that stinking thinking sometimes about that. Where else? What else could they be doing? And we all know that really that networking does work. And it's worked for many other people. So the only reason it won't work for me is we look in the mirror, it's because of ourselves. We are knocking ourselves out of our own opportunity. And we don't want that to happen. We don't want you to that to happen. That's why I teach attitude. That's why it's imperative to start your day off reading this every day. And when you get maybe that stinking thinking creeping in, that you go read it right then. And maybe call your partner, call someone in your support group. I'm available when you got stinking thinking. I'm not going to be all warm and fuzzy either, but that's okay. Sometimes that's what we need. Okay. And in this 2 to 3 years of learning, you're going to develop this belief that you need to internalize. Once it's internalized, there is no stopping you then. People who start with this, these are the ones that just do things, and we look at them, we say, gee, why can't I do that? Why can't that happen to me? Yeah, well, it's because you don't have these internalized already. That's the truth. Okay. You might think you do, but you don't. Okay. Because you asked that simple question. Okay. So let me stop sharing that, and let me get to some of the points that I want to make with you. And one of them is, and it's really a phenomenal story. The seed was planted almost more than a year ago, before Brother Gary joined on February 26th. It was with Jim McClellan, and he joined almost a year before that. George was his sponsor, George Donaldson, who I sponsored, and on my left team. And my left team was always my big bank side, up until we got Wayne Clark in the business on the right side underneath my wife. So I prospected him. I did everything, but I let my wife enroll him. And he became the first person to win a 100-ounce silver bar, and the first person to become an executive goal in the entire company. But that took a lot of work with him, a lot of personal work, a lot of time with him and his people. Very much like the Hawaii story, okay? Except maybe a little bit more intensive with Wayne than Hawaii, if you can believe that or not. It was, because we had COVID going on, and we had it was the big beginning of COVID, and so I just found ways to promote the business because everybody's at home. Very few people are out. So we implemented those techniques, and they worked tremendously. And you see the results. And we still had big Super Saturdays, and I had to really push to make that happen. But I knew they worked. I knew they did it. And we ended up back at George's house with almost 120 something people in his house when we made the round from San Antonio to Houston to Beaumont to Lake Charles to Breaux Bridge back to Baton Rouge. And so we made a run from that whole week. And that's where we signed up 200 and some people over in San Antonio for that weekend, at 4 days there, 3 days, 3.5 days. And then we ended up back at George's place for a big, potluck and opportunity, and everything. Had over 120 people in the house, and it was COVID. And we had 22 of us come out with COVID, including myself and Wayne and quite a few others. And then, of course, that led me to finding all the cures for COVID based on my pharmaceutical background. And so here we are, Hawaii. Jim planted a couple of seeds, and none of them germinated. He ended up having sponsoring 5 people, and one of them was not Gary, Brother Gary. Things happen. Brother Gary, accomplished networker, accomplished marketing professional, had some of his friends, Cheryl Toyofuku and Colleen Nakamura, approach him wanting silver. He wanted silver. He remembered Jim with 7K, but he also, as he shared with me, he was following 7K. He knew about him, and he honored the fact that Jim had talked to him about it. And I'm not going to tell all of Brother Gary's story. That's for him to tell in his story. And why he did that. And he didn't have to, but he really wanted to hook up with a top money earner in the company. He didn't know it, but God led him to the right person, because that's how he ended up with. And he wanted to enroll. Jim didn't know how to do it, and so put him in touch with George. He's at a medical appointment with his wife. He's sitting in his car. George enrolls him and talks a little bit about 7K with him, trying to give him vision. He then enrolls Cheryl and enrolls Colleen. And so they got 3. And then George says, look, I got 3 big potentials. I mean, I got a big one. He's a pastor, Bob. I don't want to mess this up. Would you call him? Would you talk to him? And I gave a call to Brother Gary. And from there, you guys put me to work. You kept me up in all wee hours in the morning on Zooms and everything. But that's what it takes. See, it takes an initiator. And the initiator was Brother Gary, Cheryl, and Colleen. And they went out and started spreading the good news. We can get silver. We have found the place. We found the answer. And we started sharing the videos, started sharing the information, started putting people on, and that's really what it took. And then y'all have some political activism going on in the state of Hawaii, which was very admirable, because if we don't stand up for our free enterprise system, it will be taken away from us. And we don't stand up for our rights, they will be taken away from us. And they had a program that I really wish I could have attended, but it was way too early. And had a rally and stuff there. And then there was this other thing that came up, and Brother Gary was pushing for me to come to Hawaii instead of just doing Zooms with y'all. We had about 30 people in the business by the first couple of weeks, and joined their team. And that kind of up-motivated Jim McClellan a lot. And George worked on Jim, and we ended up planning a trip there within the first 2 weeks. We were already planning a trip later, and I flew over. Y'all know the rest of the story from there. That's how Hawaii developed. Here we are since February 26th. Now we're September the 11th, and you have well over 1,500 people in the organization. You ping pong back all the way across the United States and many states in the mainland. And you've also gone to Guam and Australia, New Zealand, got people even, I think we got one in Singapore now already. And there's more to come. So y'all are still babes in the woods when it comes to 7K, but look at the silvers, got a gold, look at the bronzes, look at the coppers. A copper can make $1,000 a week and already qualified that. And none of you have been in the business for a year yet. I mean, this is so powerful, And so I want to show you, since this is training, I'm not trying to get prospects. There are no prospects on this training because it's for our members only. And I'm going to show you what it means for you in the future. Because see, I joined November 16th on Thursday. Friday night was my birthday, November 17th, 2016. And I called George up after I enrolled my wife and put her on my left side, and I enrolled the company and put her on the right side. So that was my family business. Back then I called George. And I said, I need to have a meeting over at your place because see, I live about 35 miles outside of Baton Rouge, not convenient for people to come out to. And George is right in the heart of easy to get to, and he has a huge place. Of course, we said we had over 120 people at his house, so we have a big meeting room in his own home, kind of like I used to have back in the 90s when I did it in Sherwood Forest, because I had, one time over 150, more than that, in my big, huge den area in my 5,000 square foot home in Baton Rouge, living area, that is. And that's when I was doing the first business with Richard Wayne Hansen. So we have that big meeting. I had 15 people show up, including George and Sandra there. And I only enrolled 2 of them, George and Woodrow, and I put them on my left team, both older than me. I called 8 people on the way from my home, from George's home, on the way back out to my home in Prairieville, and 4 enrolled that night. The next day we went to work helping people, and I made $1,000 my very first week. Well, my left side, I never placed another person on there except to rank up. And y'all know what that means. And it became my bank side, my left side. Now remember that, because we're about to look at something. Then in May of 2019, our income exploded because the teams were growing, and I kept looking to help people down in those legs, whoever it was that was really interested in building a business. And I'm not talking about just for me to be talking to them on a Zoom. I'm talking about actually like Brother Gary and Cheryl and Colleen were doing, and putting people in front of us and let's signing them up. That was the key. Not just visiting and not just training. It was actually putting prospects in front of me to help them learn how to do it. Now they're doing that themselves. And that's what you want. You want duplication. If you have to keep doing that all the time, then you don't have duplication going on. You don't have leaders that are developing to help develop other leaders and teach others. And that's why I'm so proud of what all of y'all are doing. And Brother Gary and Cheryl and Colleen, and what Jim and them are doing on their side. You know, he concentrate on the other side. Brother Gary's basically at the top of his right side. And so that's what makes good teamwork. Then, you know, you find times that you do things together, but you don't always have to do everything together. You know, all my left side and right side, they don't do everything together. I separate them into teams, because they have a cohesiveness, and they have a like need. And so as we look at Brother Gary, everybody on his left and right, that's a team. Okay, but you know, he's going to have teams inside of his teams that's going to want to be their own team, like Dorita. And that's great, because she's a huge leader. And so, you know, it behooves her to develop their leaders. And so in soon, maybe Ryan becomes where he jumps up and he's a goal, and he wants to, you know, take it on his own initiative and develop his leaders. You'll always call on Brother Gary. Yeah. Terita call on Brother Gary. They'll all call on me from time to time. But I'm just giving you a view of the future. That's what I'm doing here this morning, giving you a view of the future. Because one of our main jobs is to develop leaders. And that's what develops a legacy for you and a generational income for you. And that relationship hopefully develops very strong too. It doesn't always. I mean, I have people I put heart and soul into, and sometimes they become smarter than me. And I just say more power to them. I hope they win. And I sincerely do. I hope they do. But that part doesn't bother me. I want to work with people who want to work with me. And I'm pretty picky and choosy about who I work with sometimes. And you will be doing some of the same things in the future. That's the only way we can provide that growth and maturity for your groups in the future. As Jesus said, there will always be the poor. We're always willing to teach a person to fish so they can feed themselves and their family for the rest of their lives. What we can't afford to do is to create cripples. It's bad for you. It's bad for the organization. It's bad for everyone. What do I mean by that? If you keep giving people fish It's just a human nature. They're going to come with both hands, wanting to fish the next time, because they're not willing to take the time to learn how to fish, how to bait the hook, how to put it out, have the patience to sometimes you fish for hours and hours and you never come catch a fish, but you come back the next day because you got to feed your family. And you got to bait the hook, and you got to put the hook out there. And sometimes bait gets robbed, and you got to rebait the hook and put it back out there. See, it's those little analogies are the actual facts of this business, the actual facts of success or failure in this business. So y'all have the opportunity of a lifetime in Hawaii because you're the gateway of the Asia Pacific market and basically of the world. And that's what's such a magnificent opportunity to me for y'all and everyone in your team and everybody that's going to be in your future team. And then you're all going to get some benefits too. You're already starting to see some, the tricklings of some on those of you that are on the right leg. And it's going to happen. It doesn't matter where you're at. Everybody's going to end up this way in the long term. So let me get to what I want to share with you about the future. What we're going to do is I'm going to share, and we're going to look in my back office. Now I'm going to share that once again to make sure everybody gets to see what I'm trying to show, because sometimes when I switch tabs, it doesn't always do that. So this is my back office, DDD Bob Reid at the very top. I got Pamela's on my left. Our company's on the right. And so that's where we're at. Okay. And so in your dashboard, you get to see what? The score of your business for the week. Okay. Now, everyone knows I'm a goal. And everyone knows that Hawaii's on my left side. But that's not Hawaii, everyone. Hawaii's not producing that kind of volume and hasn't been producing that kind, never produced that kind of volume in 1 week. Well, that's not all just Hawaii, and Hawaii's in here, your volume, and I can pull that out and show you what that is. And so is the rest of my beginning group is in there too. But there's about 56,000, let's see, no, it's 67,000 this week. It's from one group, one new group in 17 days they've been in the business. You're going to hear about him. I'm going to talk about him tonight a little bit here today. There's this great story. But this is what all of you have to look forward to. Okay, remember I told you that my left side was my bank side for more than almost 3 years, more than that, until Wayne came in and he became the first person to win the Silver Bar, first executive goal under my wife, whose company on the left, on her left side. And so that flip-flop. So we ate up all my bank, but that was a great thing to happen because I was making $7,000 a week paychecks. So, for example, you know that as a goal, I've got much more than I need. And what's going to happen? All the rest of the points are going to subtract out. I mean, even if I was a presidential goal, you could only make $12,500 in a week. So this is what I want to share with you, what's really the future for every one of you. There's always going to be money for everyone to make $12,500 a week. Do you see that now? See, as your organization grows and grows and grows and grows, on that left and right, you only have to have one on the left, one on the right. So everyone, if they have the patience, the persistence, the perseverance, the willingness to learn how, the willingness to keep trying, the willingness to keep sharing, willingness to do my system the way I teach it, should at least come up with $500 a week sometime in the next 3 to 5 years. But if you're just kind of dabbling and doing this kind of part-time and kind of looking in, no, that's a hobby. It's a consistent, persistent effort every week, all the time. Just like if you had a part-time job and you had to put 10 hours a week into that job to get some kind of meaning, almost menial hourly wage. Except here, you're working toward a residual income for the rest of your life. Look how powerful that is. Now, if you got a business family pack, you can earn you can earn 500 on each one of them. If you can't earn, you can't rank up. Now, everybody should be able to rank up to copper. I've already said that. And so that's 1,000. And if you got a business family pack, hey, yeah, what if you get, half of the business is already made. And so if you're making 1,000 on each one of them, that's 3,000 a week. That's more than a 6-figure income, 6-figure and a half income. Just think about long term. Where else could a person possibly start a business for under $1,000, acquire products of wealth every month, and accumulate wealth, and work toward a residual income of $500 to $3,000 a week for the rest of their lives? See, when you internalize belief, more people are going to hear what you have to say. Because every one of you I know heard what I just said then. And now you see. Now, do I get aggravated and mad because this new person came in and started robbing my bank and I'm not even going to get paid on it? Absolutely not. I don't care if my bank flip-flops and this becomes my bank side, because then I start working on this side. And the people on this side, they really like that too, because I start concentrating, putting more effort with them. And it helps my wife, and it helps me, and it helps them. And I know that everybody on this side gets a lot of bank. And here, is it going to make a difference in my check? No, I look here. Look at all the volume that you get built up. As that team grows, you're still going to get a $7,000 a week check. Because see, that's just when you say, well, gee whiz, Bob, that's only 23,000, 2,995. Oh, really? Well, I've had a lot of them like this before these numbers came here, where it wasn't even 2,000. But I got 5 years worth of renewals going on and new business coming in. And so would you in that team. So I want to show you a little bit as part of training here, what potentially could happen to you if you have a lot of people in this business that have excess volume over what they're being paid above me, because all my volume goes up to lots of people, because Richard Wayne, as y'all all knew, the company started on November 4th. Richard Wayne Henson didn't call me until November the 16th. That's 12 days later. And I ended up at the bottom of his leg, not at the top. It's amazing. So once again, we're going to share this screen so you see what I'm talking about today right here. Those teams that we're talking about, as these grow. Now, what I want you to do is what I did. Back in May of 2019, I started looking all down this group, trying to find that person that really, really had a, fire in their belly, had a hunger, had a desire to make 500 extra a week, would make a commitment to do my job description and give me 10 hours out of their life a week. In fact, I asked for volunteers. A lot of people volunteered, but a lot of people went to the wayside in the first 2 weeks because they didn't deliver what they promised, 10 hours a week. They didn't watch that video every day, even for 2 weeks. And there was always an excuse. Something else come up. This life happens to everybody. Even when you're working in a job, it happens to everybody. But you go to that crazy job. See, this is entrepreneurial. This is the person we look at in front of the mirror. We're in control if that happens to us or not circumstances, just like attitude. It's more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It'll make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one thing we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. And so it is with you. We're in charge of our attitude. Yep, the longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. See, that's why I want people to read it every day. That's why I had my children read it every day. So what did I do? I looked for 5 people. Why was I looking for 5 people? And that's all I want you to do. As you need to select partners that you're going to work with. I know that Brother Gary already has some committed partners that he's working with. And then they need to do the same thing. It's a matter of duplication. Why I was looking for 5 people? Because if I find 5 people who their desire is just to make $500 a week, getting to $500 a week means they have to first to get to $500 a month. But that's 500 points coming up on each side during a month. That's 1,000 points in a month. Well, if I find 5 of them, that'd be 5,000 points in that month coming up on that side, in addition to whatever else is happening in that whole group. Over here. And then in a year or two, if we together can help them get to $500 a week, then that'll be 5 people in this group. I don't have to personally sponsor them. See, that wasn't my objective. My objective was to find people somewhere in this group that had that desire and to see if we wanted to partner up and work together. And so finding 5 would give me the ability to have 5,000 points coming up on this left team and this right team every week. But that gives me the ability to make $5,000 a week if I'm a goal. So getting the goal has to be on me. Otherwise, I'm going to make 1,000 a week or 2,000 a week as a bronze, or 3,500 a week, and the rest of it will go away, except for the bank side. But I certainly shouldn't be complaining if that's happening. That's a good thing. It's just your motivation to rank up and to keep looking until you do find your own personal partner that you bring in, and that y'all grow and nourish the same thing, because now you got experience in helping people grow and nourish because you've already found 5 somewhere down in your group, and you always are looking. You always are looking. You always are looking because you're exposing the business to 5 people a day, 5 days a week. And you're going back over your list 7 times from beginning to end over this 2, 3, 4, 5 year period. And you're adding new people to your list. And if you're not doing those things, that's the basics. That's this part down here, number 5. But I tell everybody, that's just the beginning. You want 500 there. And you go to the associate training list builder. I don't even teach that anymore because that's done correctly. And then how you expose the business, you do it my way, not the company way. Company way, and I'll just tell you, I do not agree with. You never pick up the phone and call somebody, or do it in person and say, hey, Brother Gary, I don't know if this is for you or not, but bull. Don't ever say those words, not in my group, please. I teach you the right words to say. And I give you multiple scripts. And all of mine are proven, factually work. And I've proved it. I've been top money earner for years in multiple businesses. So you can't fight success. As Richard says, documentation beats conversation any day. Well, I'm a multiple $1 million a year earner in network marketing. There aren't many of me around. I certainly hope that gave you a vision for what's coming for you, because none of you really on this call have been in the business for more than 6 months. And some of you have been in a lot less than that, but you are with absolutely the right team, the right people, the right mixture. I couldn't think of a better team for y'all to be with than Brother Gary, Cheryl, and Beverly, and Betty, and Olaf, and Val, and all the other leaders in this business. They're already there. Dar, an up and coming star, Gloria, or Chemo, Joseph, and there's just so many leaders in your Hawaii group, and you all have it available to you. The world is open to you, and we are sharing the good news. We're sharing the good news to help people financially. We're sharing the good news that they need to acquire silver and gold, and everybody's recognizing that. And we have the vehicle that they can do it. And as I've taught my earlier group, and I'll teach you, you need to really kind of learn how to be persistent without being a pest, but never leave anybody behind. Eventually, they all come back to join you. It took my sister, remember, 3 years before she finally called me and said, I'm getting in, because her son wanted to join 7K. And he told her that he's going to join, And then so she immediately called me and said, no, he's going under me. I'm signing in. And so my sister finally joined our crew and made income, loves the products. She's what you call a coin fanatic now. And she's fallen in love with these things. She gets frustrated because she's not good at, the coin drops, but who doesn't get frustrated? I do too, especially when I don't get the coin that I want. But that's the fun of it. And knowing that we got these unique products that no one else in the world has. And when we see all the other additional benefits that the company is providing for us, that's really an unbelievable future that we have with this company. And as it expands globally, because remember the picture of the team left and team right, as they open up from country to country, you're going to see this same ping pong that's happened with Hawaii, going from Hawaii back to the mainland, going to Guam, going to Singapore, going to Australia. You're going to start seeing that ping pong effect all around the globe, and it's going to be in yours. So, it doesn't matter. You're going to end up like me. Everybody's going to end up like me eventually, somewhere, sometime. You're going to have somebody join in your business like we just did, like Phil Godlewski from northeastern Pennsylvania, who joined on August the 23rd. He did all the research himself. He's 38 years old. He's been in real estate for 16 years, owned his own real estate brokerage, real estate title company, real estate teaching school, mortgage company. He owned 2 national franchised restaurants, and COVID really affected his business tremendously, especially where he's from in the US. And he's not a networker, but he threw himself into this immensely, and he became an executive goal with a full pay. And in fact, he flushed more than he earned every week. And he became an executive goal in 17 days. Yesterday, he became an executive goal. And he has 11 people who became silver in less than 17 days. And qualified for that 1 ounce silver bar. And he didn't even start with a business family pack. This guy has a servant heart helping people. He put together a team. He comprehended the comp plan better than anyone I've ever worked with or met. I've given very little assistance. It's just I've been kind of like a counselor and an advisor and a person to help with questions, or that's it. They did this on their own. He watched more of my videos than I think anybody did. He researched this thing and decided this was the right company to get in and the right company to help people with. And he's helped all these people, just like y'all are doing. You're doing it just on a slower base. This guy has a huge circle of influence. I mean, just look at what he's done. And don't think, well, what can that happen to me? Wrong thinking. What you want is somebody in your leg for it to happen to you, and you're going to get that bank. And if it's on your bank side, then that's great. You're going to get a huge bank. If it's on your pay side, then you're going to flip-flop. And that's a beautiful thing too. So what I'm trying to share with you, this is going to happen over and over and over and over again. Country after country after country after country. So have the bigger vision. Have vision. Have vision about what's to come. You have only been here for 6 months, and look at the benefits that you've already accrued. in just 6 months. And some of you a lot less than that, that's just joining the Hawaii team. You're at the right place at the right time with the right company, right products, right market, right environment, and the right people. If you're in our team, you're on the best team. That's for sure. See you on the beaches of the world, especially in Cancun, and for many of us in Panama City. Thank you.